welcome. Let's move together. We are not nervous, we are winning. And I just want us to hint on Matthew 14:20, Matthew 14:20, because remember, when we are talking about mindset, we are talking about the creator of the mindset, and that is God. You cannot separate those two. And then you are talking about prayer, you're talking about spiritual warfare, you're talking about you know, just the knowledge and the wisdom and the discernment, okay, to understand the seasons and what to do in different seasons. And then to also just understand your uniqueness and your identity and what to be able to deliver, that you will be like a tree that was planted by the waterside. Do you know what that means? That I am not shaken. I will bear fruits in my own seasons, and my leaves are not going to wither, even if it is dry, even if it's in famine. I am going to stand still and see the salvation of God. Okay, I hope that we can go together. All right, so I will keep hinting. I'm not going to read it, but I will still keep hinting on it so that we can be able to move together according to the points. I'm giving you straight points today according to the points that we are going to be making. Okay, and one of the things we have actually hinted on at the start when we were talking about Pretty Brainy Wife, and how, you know, some people actually talk you into doing things prematurely before you can actually do them. Okay, now for most people, when someone comes to you and tells you, for example, when I was starting, some people came to me when they saw me on NTV, and they would tell me that, you know what, we can create an event, and you know, we can make this kind of money, and then we can do all these kinds of things. And then I would look at them. I looked like I was slow in that season, but little did I know that God was doing a work in me, that when the time came, in the fullness of time, when I'm unveiled and I'm able to do certain things, that they will leave a mark and they will leave pure transformation. All right, so some people are watching you run and they feel like you are very slow. That is where I want us to start. Okay, they are watching you run, they feel you are very slow, and some of you are telling you, please catch up, please run faster. And this applies at every stage of our lives. I bet even we don't have to wait for other people to tell us to catch up, to run faster. Do you know that we can tell ourselves and give ourselves, stress ourselves? And you're like, but do you see so and so, the kind of content they are posting? But do you see so and so, the kind of, as in the kind of speaking engagements that they are, you know, podiums that they are standing on? Little do you know that some people actually take pictures without being speakers. But you're telling yourself, yes, but you're telling yourself that, you know what, I think I need to be able to break even. I think I need to be able to. So you are rushing yourself because you think other people are reading you as slow. I know that we have all gotten that temptation. We have all gotten that temptation. And maybe not even just in content creation and coaching, even marriage. You see your age mates, getting married. And you're like, I should be able to catch up. Before you know it, you're changing your whole wardrobe. Before you know it, you're changing your hangout spots. Before you know it, and because why you feel like you are still behind in the rest of life, and then you become anxious, okay? And you start doing the things that you shouldn't have done in the first place. I don't want us to feel that way. I want us to calm down our mindsets and know that we have different paces, we have different speeds, okay? And we are going to get to where we are supposed to go. And this is not encouraging you to be slow. No. This is telling you that do everything that you have to do in this season with the resources that you have and with the kind of knowledge that you have. That do not skip levels and go to places that you have never, because then you are going to be beaten while you are in the deep end, and yet you are supposed to swim from the shallow end while you are heading to the deep end. So before you get to the deep end, you must be able to take rounds. You must be able to go submarine. You must be able to do all sorts of things before you go the other side. I told you about a gentleman who died in a swimming pool because there were girls around, and this guy felt like, oh, I came with someone and this person is behaving like they are teaching me, and yet I want to show these girls around that I actually know what I am doing. So he announced to everyone, oh, I am going submarine, and he went submarine. He went submarine. Yeah, they waited for someone to come up. Someone is not coming up. And guess what? There is an Indian who was around who was taking beer. And so while they were saying, you know, I think he has taken long, the Indian with the beer was busy saying, you know, people do those things normally. You know, people do those things normally, so just give him time. Just give him small time. You know, even the person that came with this gentleman was like, don't you think it's becoming odd? And this person was like, no, I think he will find his way to the top. Until the pool attendant came with his, what is it called? That one. And knocked on, and the body was, he had already kaput. Because they brought him up, tried to, you know, do everything, but as soon as he got into an ambulance, he died. So you realize that, and then when they asked the gentleman that came with him, he actually said that this was the second time he was coming to the swimming pool. That was the second time he was coming to the swimming pool. But as others were taking, you know how you'll find people at the swimming pool, and men love these things of, let's race. You know, let's do this. Let's do butterfly. Let's go submarine. And you know, because everyone, the people that are saying that have achieved a certain level. Maybe they've been swimming, maybe for 5 years or 10 years. But it is your second time to appear at a swimming pool. And you are also joining the rest of those that have been swimming. Okay? It's good to have faith, but it's bad to have blind faith. Now, when we read here, that was in 1420 for those of you that wish to read, but I think I can be able to represent all of us, okay? It says that they all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets and broken pieces that were left over. The number of those that ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and men. 22, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went on to the mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, okay? And it was being beaten by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It was a ghost, and they said and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. And Peter said, Lord, if it is you, he replied, tell me to come on the water. And then he told him to come. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. Now, in this case, you see that after he told them that cross over to the other side, it tells us that he went ahead to pray. So that means he had a private life that enabled him, okay, to actually do the things that he did in the public. So now Peter is saying, call me to come. Okay, I want to catch up with you. If you are, I really want to catch up with you. Call me. But remember, he's at a place where he wants to do publicly what Jesus is doing, but he didn't do privately what Jesus did. So that means his power was coming more from prayer. His power was coming from the Father. His power was coming from communion. It was not just coming from, please call me, I want to come, okay? I want to walk on water like you are walking on water. I want to be trending like everyone else is trending, okay? I want to be able to seat 1,000 people at an event. But the person that is sitting 1,000 people, you don't know how many years they've been paying the sacrifice, right? You don't know how much they have been praying. That is why when someone says, but whatever she's doing, you know, because at first when I refused to go by the speed of other people, this is what happens. Some of them were like, but we will do better than her. And most people will want to say these things in your hearing or in the hearing of someone who can easily bring those words. Now, when someone would bring some of those words, in my heart of hearts, I was like, if we have the same secret ingredient, we trust in the same God, we pray to the same God, what he can do for me, he can do for you. But if you want to do publicly what I am doing without the secret source and without my secret power and without my secret routine, then you are wasting time. Okay? You were wasting time. It's possible that you might do it because of the impression. And once, maybe you will feel like, you know what, nchikubye, but the sustainability of it, is what we are looking at. We are not looking at you at going viral once, trending once, you know, making money once. No, we are looking for the longevity. I am no longer impressed by small things that, oh, she got married. Marriage does not impress me. Weddings do not impress me. Let me rectify. Weddings don't impress me. You can put on a gown of 1 billion and I will still not be impressed. Do you know what will impress me? Make 10 years in marriage. I'll be impressed. That means you have gone through the highs and the lows. That means you have prayed. That means you have forgiven. That means you have submitted. That means you have done so many things to make sure that this is what I want and I'm going to work for it. So that impresses me. 5 years in marriage, I'm like, salute. You know? Not so many people can do that, okay? That is a huge step, okay? So let the others look like, you know, they are winning. Let them go ahead, all right? Stay at your own pace. Trust yourself enough to know that even at your pace, you will actually make it. And this, what we're talking about, we are not nervous. The moment that nervousness dies, that is the secret and the art of acceleration. That is the only art of acceleration. Because the moment you are fearful, your brain gets fog, everything becomes shut down, you know, you don't know what else to do, you don't know what to say. But the moment you calm down and you become so authentic, that is the level of acceleration. So let others look like they are winning. It's okay. Support them, clap for them. Stay at your own pace. I remember at some point when actually my husband was telling me, you know, at the height of it all, when you don't have a mentor or someone to actually hold you down, sometimes you can make so many mistakes. So here I'm getting all these things. Yes, I'm grounded. I come from a grounded family, but I'm looking at all these things and they look exciting. Yes, I've not taken any step, but one thing is I never do anything without sharing it with my husband, because for the longest time he has held me accountable. So I would go back to him and share with him, okay, this and this, you know, there's this offer, and you know, there's this offer and there's this offer. He told me, Hilda, organic growth. The coaches that went ahead of you, I want you to show me 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Where are they right now? Most of them had fallen off the grid. And so he told me, if you want to play the long game, you are going to play with authenticity. You are going to play with an organic level of growth. You're not going to run ahead of yourself, okay? You're going to allow other people to laugh at you and say, you know what, I gave her a good deal, but I don't think she's wise enough to even see a good deal when we placed one on the table, okay? And then, like, yeah, that's a good deal. Let's see who is going to grab that deal. You see another person grabbing that deal, and before you know it, they're actually falling. And so you're like, this was actually a trap. You get a trap. And when you start early, when you are young, fresh, you know, looking all beautiful, do you know how many people would want to even, you know, make offers? You know, let's have a lunch, you know, let's meet at this hotel, you know, let's meet at, and I'll be like, you know what, I actually don't have even an office, but find me where I am. Even if I'm seated on a half a chair, you will sit on a half a chair. So let's see if you will want to say your manyanga while we are not. Because some of them are, oh, you know, I'm too private. You know, I come from State House. And, you know, I want, so, yeah, there is one who told me, you know, I want to book like a special place in Serena where it's just exclusive, like where there are no people, you know, so that we can talk business. And I was like, me, talk business in a secret place. And then that same person was saying, I don't know, I think she's Christian. By the way, he had not even known where I fall. Like, I think there are these Christian girls around Kampala who think they have morals and, you know, they are intact. Like, serious. I know, it was very painful, like very painful. And so, and guess what? After 2 years, the same guy was recommending me for government gigs. And without any questions. Well, like recommending, not even calling me himself. Someone would call me and tell me that, you know what, I got your number from so-and-so, and he said that you're the best person for this job. And the money is already negotiated. And the money is above what I would even ask for. And so I was like, keeping intact and keeping your authenticity and keeping at your level is going to earn you a lot more respect. A lot more respect. They will run ahead of themselves and then they will come back and realize you are the person for the job. But just imagine if they got into your skirt. Will they ever recommend you anywhere? That is why I say if you are single, be very careful. Who you date, some of them are going to date you because they have seen you. And let me tell you, the devil is going to earmark you. The moment you start putting your pictures, you've done your studio pictures, even the married ones, you've done your studio pictures, you're posing, you're all beautiful, and all of a sudden, they want a piece of you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Because your number is there, now they're sending money, and now they're sending all sorts of proposals. But what the devil wants, you know what? Once, get her nudes, wait for her 5 years from now, when she has accelerated, then bring her down. You think the devil is not tactful? You think he's not wise? You know, he brings a person that you think, oh, maybe this person is genuine, and you know, because, you know, dating, and because you've been waiting for God for so long, you feel it's an unanswered prayer. You don't even censure it. Okay? And before you know it, you have compromised. Before you know it, you have fallen there. You're even snoring. Pictures are being taken. And guess what? Archived. Not released because now you don't have money. But after 5 years, you will have some money. So now they will come blackmailing and telling you that, you know, every money that you get, bring this side. And then we start disturbing God. God, please. God. It's actually not disturbing him because at every level he has a solution for everything. But at some point you look at yourself and you're like, but why? Like, why did I do this? Okay, so just like the rest I have said, some of us are going to reserve our energies, okay, while we are building the foundations so that we can bounce back higher. I don't know how many stories, because if you want to build 100 stories, you don't build like one who is building a bungalow. The foundation is not the same. The foundation has to go deeper. Okay? So the foundation, as in, gets established even when it comes to doing your organic reach. Okay? Without even ads, without even sponsorship. Make sure that you know how to message, how to position yourself, tweak, adjust, change. Say, today I did this and it didn't work. Can I do this tomorrow? Can I do that tomorrow? Before you know it, you are so sure about who you are targeting. You are so sure about the message that you bring to them, the solution you are bringing to them. You are so sure about your pricing because you started in an authentic way. And before you know it, the ones that went ahead, you are catching up, you are overtaking them, and they're saying, what's wrong with this person? You have a secret sauce, okay? There is no way you can build foundations without prayer. There is no way you can build, let me tell you, the hearts of people are in God's hands. And if God says that people are not going to see you, they are not going to see you. It doesn't matter if the algorithm will take you to every country introducing you and screaming that, hey, look at this one. If God has not permitted it, it's not going to happen. They will see you and they will scroll. But when God's favor is upon your life and there's been enough preparation, whoever comes into your presence goes away full. Whoever comes into your presence goes away with a recommendation. Whoever comes into your event, they're like, you know what, that was not just an event. No, it was not a normal event. This person came to deliver and over-deliver. This person came to hold our hands. This person, you know, prepared, you know. They just didn't want the glamour to look good, but they actually prepared that this will be a space for deliverance, a space for growth, and a space for acceleration. That is what we need. People need, the world is dying, guys, okay? People need solutions, but they don't need half-baked solutions. Just like I said, we feel that we are behind the race and then we become so nervous. But I want you, whenever you feel nervous, I want you to speak to yourself, just like the opening statement we said. Just say, you know what? I am not going to be nervous. I'm not in a hurry. No one is rushing me. No one is pushing me. The only person that has to push me is me. To push me to be the best version of myself, okay? So I am not going to run by other people's business. I am going to run by my own pace, okay? There's something else that I wanted us to share very quickly. When it comes to the people that hate you or the people that anti you or against you, the same people God can use for your elevation and your acceleration. Okay, the same people God can use for your elevation and acceleration. And because sometimes we look at these people as they've come to jeopardize us, they've come to discourage us, but sometimes that discouragement is one that is going to boil into encouragement, and you're going to say, you know what, wait a minute, I am coming back and I am going to do A, B, C, and D. Now, when we go back to the story that we have read, remember, these are people, this is one of the greatest miracles that Jesus did, the feeding, okay? But remember where this came from. It came from compassion. Number one, he had compassion. The disciples were telling him, let them go, send them away. And he's thinking, these people have been here with us the whole day, you know. And so because of compassion, he sat down and said, you know what, no, we are not sending them away. Let's do something out of it. Now, the second thing is, the food came out of a young boy who had just 2 loaves and 5, I think it was five fish. And that means that was the means to feeding these people, right? But for me, what made a lot of sense when I was reading this today is the message that was behind this miracle. The message that was behind this miracle was God telling these people, I am well able to do more than you have ever expected for me to do. That out of 2 fish and 2 loaves of bread and 5 fish, I can be able to feed 5,000 men without including women and the men. So, and the children. But do you remember when we talk about water coming out of the rock, that naturally water would not come out of the rock? You remember when the ravens fed the prophet, as in the ravens feed from meat. But now they are carrying meat. So some of the circumstances that have been against us are the same circumstances that are going to work for our good to make sure that the acceleration happens in our lives, okay? To make sure that the longevity, the message behind the miracles that God is going to do. Sometimes you will find yourself on stages that you've never even thought about. You're going to find yourself on TV stations. You're going to find yourself counseling people or coaching people that you had never thought that you would actually coach. And let me tell you, the same people that are saying whatever she is doing is going nowhere, sometime are the same people that are going out of that rock, water is going to come out. They're the same people who will be paying ahead of time, and you'll be telling them, actually, I don't have time this month, but you can book next month. And there will be the same people saying, it's okay, book me next month. But they're the same people who said, I don't think this is heading anywhere. They also want to show off. There are people that have been told, so you also want to be like Bahati. So you also want to be like Bahati. But I don't know who be there lying to these young girls and these women and these motivation. Yeah, but everyone that has heard of that word in this accelerated mentorship is one that has come back and told me the same people that were saying are the same people that want to pose with pictures with me, are the same people that want me to push their business on my account. And so now they're asking, you were saying, I attend Bahati's thing, so I also want to be like Bahati. There are also some husbands, by the way, have told, so you want to be like that woman? And the wife is dying inside. And saying, like, what do I say? Like, what do I say? And you even don't know her life. You even don't know. Is she even married? Yeah, by the way, I still have those battles on social media. You might think everyone knows about you. Is she even married? I think she's actually misleading you. She's just pumping up your ears and you feeling like you are great. But after time, you're going to realize that is nothing. And then the same husbands are the one telling them, I can't go to a function without you. At least people know you. So when they see you, they come and greet us, And even at functions now, you be the one to speak. Now you're the one who speaks. Bahati trained you well. And then when they find me later, 2 years after, they're like, but that I've attended every class. Most of those husbands, while their wives were attending online, they were eavesdropping. Now they're like, but I've attended all your classes. You are very life-changing. But while they were talking to their wives, they were telling them she is spoiling you. But because this person stayed and decided to take their own pace and said, you know what, it doesn't matter what anyone says, the mission, the vision, this burden is on me. I feel it and I want to do this, and I'm going to push myself to actually do this. Okay, so the other lesson that we get from this, okay, as coaches, as leaders, as people helpers, you can't hang with those that you are trying to help all the time. You can't hang out with the people that you're trying to help all the time. Otherwise, they are going to either learn of your weaknesses or punch holes in you, and they will not be able to benefit from the strengths that you have. Do you understand what I'm saying? Have you ever tried to help someone and you brought them so close into your inner circle that they became a bade and you were bongering, and all of a sudden you can't tell them anything because now they no longer see your strengths, all they are seeing are your weaknesses. Now as you create communities, as you counsel people, as you lead people, make sure that you are ahead of them and you are not leading from behind them or within them. Because when you lead within them, the temptation of having small talk with them is actually high. You know, and then you know this, and then you know that, and before you know it, you're also starting to say things that you shouldn't actually say. And then when people learn of your weaknesses or mistakes or whatever it is, some of them are unforgiving. They will never benefit from your strength again. They will have to look for another person, okay? So you realize that here he is actually telling them that, you know what, I am going to dismiss them, that go ahead of me. So he's telling the disciples to go ahead, and then he's saying, I am going back to dismiss these people, but I am going to branch out and go and pray. Okay, so that means you need to create your alone time. You need to create your own routine, your schedule, where you get the power from, instead of operating from the crowd all the time. Do you know why we usually have crowd control? And then do you know why that some speakers usually have bouncers? Because number one, after the event, they are tired, right? But again, they also want, because some people come to us to pick battles. You know, because, you know, they're like, now I want to explain my problem. You are from speaking, right? You are tired. And someone else, I want to explain my problem. When you tell them this is not the right time, it's like, I thought so-and-so was here to help people, but she's not here to help people at all. She's not here to help people. You get it? So now, most of the people that have teams, their teams try to protect them. That is why you will see that immediately they get off the podium, they are actually whisked off into the car. And so what that creates, it creates a longing for people to want to keep coming and to want to interact with your content and to want to get more from your strength, instead of you saying, oh, you know, you see how I am very good and very available. I am available because this is a mentorship. Okay? You are not my clients. This is a mentorship. And part of mentorship is impartation. That I must dwell with you and be with you, but I must be careful what I say and what I don't say, because most of my sayings should be guiding you and holding your hand and praying for you and believing with you that we are actually going to make it to wherever we are going to make it. But remember, we're going to create events. We're going to create forums, okay? When you are on the forum, and you know, everyone, do you know that some people will come to those forums just to be close to you? So you need to go a step further. You need to go a step further. You remember the moments where Jesus used to pray with the disciples? He would still leave them somewhere at a stone throw and still go deeper. You need to be able to lead from the front. You need to be able to read ahead. You need to be able to pray ahead. You need to be able to fast ahead. You need to be able to be prepared for the eventualities that are going to come when your clients come in and the people that you're supposed to do, actually, to help are coming in. All right? And then some people are supposed to be assignments, and I think some of us have watched that video where we have the stipulations of where different people must be in your life. People come, but we must be able to place them in different spaces. Now, some people come as assignments and we make them associates. Okay? When someone comes as an assignment and you make them an associate, that means you cannot be able to help them. If they're supposed to be an assignment, handle them as an assignment. okay? That my mission is to help you. My mission is not to make you my best friend, because the day I make you my best friend, then I will never have the power to help you. Or you will never even have the guts to listen to me, because then I have given you a seat on my bus that you're not supposed to have, you know. So we have a video that stipulates, I'll make sure that I maybe share. So has anyone watched it? No one has watched it? You've watched it, huh? Okay, you've watched it, yeah. So we should be able to look out for that, because it's very, very important. So let's bring people and then put them in the right places. The other thing is operating from a place of obedience, okay? Operating from a place of obedience. Let's learn to journey with a sense of absence. Some of us want, let me just give an example. There are some people that when you want to work with someone, you want to work with in close proximity. There are people who want to be tightly supervised, and there are people who just don't want tight supervision. They are self-starters, and they can be able to actually self-ignite, and they can be able to run the race. Now, in this case, I am talking about the time that Jesus told them that go to the other side, okay? And he told them that I'm going to come find you. That means they had to have faith that actually Jesus is going to follow us, and at the place that he promised, he is going to meet us there. That means they had to go with a sense of obedience to what he had told them, not to say, you know what, if we don't go with you, we are not going anywhere, you know, but he told them, go. That means that when God tells you that, you know, you have this vision and you have this burden, start, okay? You don't need to say, but you know, I need to have it all figured out. I need to be totally ready in order for me to actually unveil myself or anyone to see my face. He said, go. So when he says go, open up the platforms. When he says go, take the pictures. When he says go, create the content. When he says go, as in he's telling you, I am going to meet you there. So your place is to obey and say, you know what? If he says he's taking us from glory to glory, clearly I am taking his promises as yes and amen, and I am obeying. So I am starting my journey. Because what that does is tweaks our mindset, because most of our mindset, sometimes we want to figure out 5 steps ahead before we begin. Instead of saying that, you know what, let me take one step, because when you take one step, the next steps become a bit clearer. When you take another, the next steps become a bit clearer. But for us, we want to stand down at the staircase and we want to see what is happening at the top of the staircase. And that is not going to happen. So can we work with faith? Can we move with faith? You don't have, you say, you know what, I am not as good as Coach Mole, I am not good as, you know, as so and so, so I am not even sure. So when someone comes to you, when someone calls you, by the way, I know some of you are going to strangle your calls and not pick your calls, and yet you've put your numbers on social media. So someone calls and you're like, I don't have this person saved in my number. It's possible that this person actually wants help, but can I help them? It's like, I don't think I am actually ready to help them. It's better you pick, okay, and find out. When the person wants to set up a session, tell them, yes, we can set up a session. A session is 30,000 or 50,000 or whatever it is. And then meet them. Let them tell you whatever they are going through. If your mind feels like this is too big, I can't handle it, you get it? Tell them that, you know what, we have a follow-up session. This session, I was supposed to listen and figure out where you were. The next session, we are diving into strategy. And then come back and call Coach Bahati. It's like, you know, yeah. And it's like, Coach, I need time with you. I'm like, you come. And then when you come, now this one had this issue and this issue and this issue. And then before you know it, I have opened up like 6 channels of how you can actually help that person. And then you go back and, you know, I promised you that we are diving into strategy today. So today is today. Now, this is... you know, but you are acting out of faith. Do you know that by the 3rd person, you will not be calling anyone? By the 3rd person, you will stretch your mind to think you will work with this person. Because we say when you are coaching someone, don't formulate answers. Because when someone says that, you know what, I am suicidal, I've been suicidal for the past month, your brain is boiling. Now what should I tell? Why should I, you know, should I tell him you're going to be okay? You know, things are going to be okay. Let it pass. You know, what should I tell? So you're formulating answers. You're not present. Because when you're present, you would ask them, what triggered? Were you suicidal before? You know, when did this start? Because as you ask those questions, you are actually helping. Because no one told you to have all the answers. No. As a coach, you're supposed to facilitate the process of them getting their own answers, because that is how they're supposed to execute. But if you spoon feed them the answers, they're not going to do anything. So if you tell them that, okay, so it started in April, what exactly happened? And then they will tell you, it was even insignificant. There was this guy, you know, he was on my case. And, you know, tell me more about that guy. You know, for them, they think it's insignificant. But maybe that heartbreak actually perpetuated or brought about the cause of whatever is actually happening. So before you know it, they're going, so you think this thing is the one that caused this problem? Like, but for me, I'm over it. You know, we are good at hiding things and brushing them under the carpet. So before you know, it's like, I don't know. Now that I know what the problem is, I'm actually going to deal with it. All right? So let's go ahead and act in faith. This is a journey of faith, guys. Materializing what we want is a journey of faith. And then the godly ambition. You see, when Peter says, call me, he's just saying, you know what? I have the ambition. I might not have enough faith, but I have the ambition. So if you're telling me, come, I am going to step out of the boat, and then I'm going to walk. You have the ambition, okay? Let's start, let's go. So when Pretty Brainy Wife gives you some of these things, you have already envisioned yourself. You're like, one day like this, I'm going to create an event. One day like this, I am going to do this. Now, that is a godly ambition. Now, some of us are going to wait until it is dead, you know? And then to resurrect it, it is going to take pastors and prophets and what? You know, don't let it die. And you don't need to make something big. It's a matter of, you can even do something online. And you're like, right now you can start creating your tribe and your community. You're like, guys, let's meet up every Monday evening at around 7 and just talk about stress. Do you know how many corporates will jump onto that live? You're giving out free of charge. But number one, they're inviting you to their companies to speak, and you're earning out of that. But they're recommending their people for sessions. So you realize you're giving a free service, but you are gaining in the back end because people get to know, you get to establish, because you have to prepare a message. Huh? When it comes to Sunday, your head starts spinning. You're like, now I have to prepare a message for 30 minutes or 45 minutes because now they know I'm the guru and I'm the expert. Now you appear and you give them straight 30 minutes and you tell them, ask questions. You know, and some of you, I know you fear telling people to ask questions. Gamba mama, when they ask questions, I can't answer, you know. But that is how, after some time, you learn to host other people. And you're like, you know, let's have someone else. You know, let's have someone else. As I give you my what I prepared, someone else can help with the Q&A, or we can do it together. Before you know it, you have stamped, you know, you have established yourself. And this is what, if you're writing, your ability to do the unusual is tied to the ability to leave others behind. Your ability to do the unusual is tied to the ability to leave others behind. Just imagine what the other disciples in the boat were saying to Peter. They were saying, hey, I mean, call me. How about you? We've been eating posho together here. We've been, you know, I know, you are very, we are all seeing ghosts. We are shouting. And then all of a sudden we think it's Jesus. And then, hey, call me. I think all of them, I think there are those who just, you know, there are those, by the way, who will never say anything, but their eyes will say everything. Side eye. And all of us. I know, the number one wiseacre, the one who even denied, I've never seen him, you know. But he is the one that being sold that, by the way, when you become strong, strengthen others. You are the rock on which the church is going to be built. Why? Because he was authentic, he was himself. He was not fearing people's opinion that now, Judas Iscariot, the way he will look at me when I say, call me Jesus, he will be like, no. Some of us are looking at other people and we are like, now if I create this kind of content, when other people see it, you know, when I do this, why? Your ability to do the unusual is tied to your ability to leave others behind. Just see how he walked out of that boat. And with the faith of, I am actually going to float on that water. Watch me. Watch me. And you know, that belief alone was enough to have him walk on the water. Immediately, he started looking at the wind. He was sinking, okay? He was sinking. But look at this, because there is another lesson there. On the same water on which Jesus was floating and walking, Peter was sinking. So that means the water was not the problem. That means faith has measures. There are some of us that can have faith for salvation, but we don't have faith for millions and billions. Yeah. You have faith that you can eat today, but you do not have faith that you can create an empire. Or you can even, you just don't have, you have faith that you can be a serial entrepreneur, but you don't have faith that you can create a company or an organization that can flourish in the whole world. So who is limiting who? We are limiting ourselves. And you know what we are looking at? Because we can't see the wind. We can only see the representation of the wind. So the representation of the wind is, we are hearing the noises. And then we are hearing things that are beating against the boat. And our attention is taken. Instead of fixing our gaze on the author and the finisher of our faith, we are fixing our gaze on things that killed so and so, and we have examples, pure examples. You know that storm, you don't joke with that storm. You go slow on those things. Why? Because you've had prior, and what social media has not done, it brought a lot of fear, because we hear so many stories. Back then, you think people were not committing suicide. You think people, as in bad things were happening, but social media was not as rampant. But now, at a finger, we can see everything that is happening in the world. So some of us have little faith. We have limited our faith. And I will tell you, this journey about growth, about making money, about transforming lives is nothing but faith. And even if you do not believe in God, believe me, it is about faith and self-belief. Remember, we said that there is a difference between confidence and self-belief. Confidence is you knowing that I am confident I can drive that car, because you got a driving skill and you can be able to, so you are confident in a skill. With self-esteem, you have belief in yourself that I will figure it out. I will not be defeated. I will try and fail, but not fail to try. That is self-esteem. That is self-belief. Now that is Peter. He's saying, you know what? I don't have the skill of walking on water. No, I don't. But I believe. And not just in me, but I believe in who? He that is calling me, that he has the power to make me, until I lose that vision. Okay? So, the sinking is really because of lack of faith. Everyone else that is going to sign out of coaching, everyone that is going to place their tools down and say, you know what, I really am tired about this. Have you seen about the entrepreneurs that are quarreling about who made content creation part of entrepreneurship? Like, if I ever saw that person that made content creation part of entrepreneurship, I'll slap him. Like, we used to rent shops, put in our merchandise, then look cute and wait for customers to come. What happened to simple things like that? What? That I can't sit in peace in my arcade and wait for people to come and buy. Now I have to dance. Now I have to act crazy. Now I have to create content every day. Otherwise, if they don't see me, they will think I locked the shop. Yeah. If we don't see you, does so and so still exist? By the way, we think you're no longer in business. Even if the algorithm hid you, and we are no longer seeing you. By the way, the more consistent you are, the more the algorithm announces you to the people that need to see you. Yes. So the more you are posting once a week, twice a week, the more the algorithm doesn't find it necessary to actually boost you or take you anywhere. Because they're like, we will show you to your mother and your jaja and your clan. That is enough. Because they're the ones that, and your church members, because they see you every Sunday, so they still think you exist. But some of us, we don't think you still exist. Some of us will even ask, Gundi yafa? Wanji? Yeah, there are people. I know. There's a time I checked on someone, like I had to type the name. I went and typed the name. I was like, but where's so and so? And then I saw that they last posted a year and a half ago. And so I went now I became a PI. So-and-so is out of business. Like, what happened? You get it? What happened? So you realize that most people lose faith. Different scenarios can make us lose faith. For example, I'll give weird examples. When you are a coach, okay, God forbid, and you are single and you get married to a wrong person, all right, to a wrong person, even if you have so much faith, there is a way the devil is going to smile while he's pulling you down. Eh? You will feel like, Sichaweda. I can no longer say the same words I used to say. You get it? But even at that point, God has not given up on you. But we are so quick to give up on ourselves. So we think by hiding, we are going to hide our shame. Okay? And yet marrying a wrong person is not something to be ashamed about. Because who marries a wrong person thinking they're a wrong person? Most people get married to people thinking they're the right people. You get it? Now scenarios unfold and they find out that, by the way, the one I got married to is one that is dissing me and pulling down and abusing me in the first month of the marriage. And now they're thinking, so now even I can't go to church with this person. And you know, all people were saying how we are waiting for. Do you know how people wait in anticipation to see the man you're going to get married to, or to see the woman you're going to marry? Yeah? And now they're like, maybe they're going to, because this person is a relationship coach, I think after they get married and they're out of honeymoon, they will be just squeezing legs all the time and, you know, holding hands, coming to church. Before they know it, you are coming to church, you are entering, and the other one is entering after an hour. And you're seated in two different aisles of places, and you're not even looking at yourself. Let me tell you, do you know how a bad marriage can cause you to kusiuka, that even if you'd use the most expensive moisturizer, it can never settle on your face? That's right. That's right. So before you know it, you were the kind that was kurigita. You know, you were all looking good. But all of a sudden now, when they start praising, you are the one that is looking at other people. You even find no reason to praise. Do you know how much anguish that can cause you? So before you know it, you start hiding from people, you stop creating content, you stop meeting all your mentorship classes, you close them. Before you know it, the devil has cornered you and he has you where he wants you to be. Where he wants you to be. He has all the potential, he has squeezed it up. You know, all the dreams, he has squeezed them up. And all of that is why I tell you, by the way, even if you're walking down the aisle and you have not yet said, I do, and you remember all the red flags, and you're like, this is a bad mistake, turn away, lift your gown, run for your life. Run for your life. You know? Because the moment you enter a marriage that you're not supposed to enter, you get burnt. That's right. You get burnt. That's right. Now, for a woman, it's even worse, because you get a sign post-marriage failure on your head. By the way, the world is lenient with men. It can be lenient with men. But there is a way the whole world expects that a woman must hold her marriage together. Whether it is working or it is not working, whether it is crashing, put your back there and let your marriage fall on your back. You know? So that's why they were like, only women. So now if you are not so sure, if someone tells you that what, your groom was with his ex yesterday in a particular hotel, and you're saying, what will people say? But we bought cake. Let them eat cake, but run for your life. I want us to be able to wrap this up, okay? And but I want you to believe that you can catch up, because if you don't believe that you can catch up, it's right. What you're believing is true. If you don't believe, yeah, it's right that you will never catch up. So if you believe I can't catch up, I can't make it, you are very right. If you believe you can catch up, you are very right. Faith is a very huge thing, okay? So I want us to have the faith that God can fix anything in our lives, okay? Let's have the faith that God can fix anything in our lives, okay? Let's have the faith that we can walk on water. Let's have the faith that, you know, we can do it, you know, in public, while we do it even in private, pray and create the stamina. But I want us to talk about the three things that prayer fixes. Number one is sight, okay? Prayer fixes your sight. It gives you a lens through which you look at things, okay? That even when an opportunity is you're turned down, you're thinking, you know what, this door might be closing, but there is another door opening. I believe there is another door opening. That is what prayer, you know, even when you feel you've come to the end of the road, you can say, there is a way where there seems to be no way. Why? Because the eyesight is different. While everyone else is saying, we are dead. You remember Moses at the Red Sea? You know, we are dead. I mean, there were graves. We should have been buried the other side. And he's saying, you know what? I heard very clearly. In his head, I think he was saying, I heard very clearly. You know, we are crossing this Red Sea. I don't know how. Okay? But we are crossing the Red Sea. Until he was told, place the rod on the sea and it will part. And all of a sudden, now that's a different lens, because he's saying, I will wait until the last minute. Even if you don't save us, we would rather die, but we are not turning back to go. Yeah? So I want us to have the same faith, the same prayer that brings the eyesight, the different sight, where you see other people giving up and you're saying, you know what, they are giving up, but I'm not giving up. You know? Other businesses dying because of the economy, and you're saying, no, my business is not locking down because of the economy. Actually, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to accelerate, and I'm going to be better. As you know that the statistics for marriages, you know, are deteriorating and coming down, and I understand there is a bill that is about to be discussed in Parliament where polygamy is supposed to be okay, you know. So even if you got married in a monogamous setting, you can go back and apply and say, you know what, for me, that was a lie. I want what? And while they were telling me today, someone was telling me about that, I was like, so the polygamy, is it for both men and women? Because, you know, I want to know, because women should be also allowed to marry, you know, more men. But for me, I was coming from an angle of, now, I am getting a new mission for the women. A new mission for what? For the women. There is nothing like, oh, we were allowed, you know, the law allowed us to be to polygamy. I am not the law, right? I am not what? The law. So if the law allowed you, go and marry that law, and go marry those that believe in the law. But even if I have 5 of your children, I am not stooping low, right? So I am, Wanji? So I'm starting a movement of women. Number 2, what prayer does is it gives you stamina. It's like a refueling station. A refueling station, okay? Because God can't give you more responsibilities if he knows that you don't have the stamina to hold them. He can't. Okay? You're saying, God, give me the nations. But he knows you do not have the stamina to go to the nations. Even here, things confuse you. Your schedule confuses you. They invited you to speak. You don't know which date. You don't know what time. You don't know what theme. And all of a sudden, they are calling you and you're like, hey, it was today. And then when you go to your prayer chamber, you're like, God, give me the nations. And God is saying, really? You want the nations? And you have a business, and all of a sudden you're like, God, I need more capital, you know, I need more capital. But you open at 1 p.m. You open at 1 p.m. and when they bring bunyama, you buy. When they bring sumbusa with cabbage, you buy. When they bring vinyebwa, you buy. When they bring like everything they bring, by the time you calculate the money you have eaten in a day, it's over 150,000. And then you're like, since they are late in Naku, you know, let me go and have some ice cream, and then let me go and do what? And then after that, you're like, oh, vacation. Do you know some people go for vacations, but when they don't have money for vacation, they're using capital to go for vacation. Why? Because every moment must be Instagrammable. Instagram must see me that I went for. And then you also want a stamina, and you're like, God, give me marriage. It's like you don't have stamina for marriage. Marriage is sacrificial. You get it? So what prayer does is, God speaks to you that even when you're about to make certain decisions, do you know that you will stay in your bed, but you'll be very restless? It's like, but who has opened your business? And then you're going to pray that you need more capital, you need more. And God is actually, the Holy Spirit is convicting you. And before you know it, the blanket is off. And before you know it, you're promising, I'm never going to wake up late again. Before you know it, you have pushed your business to another level, because God cannot be mocked. You cannot sow what you did not. You cannot reap what you did not sow. By the time Jesus says, come, okay, that means Jesus had the stamina that even when he was sinking, he was able to hold him. If he didn't have the stamina, that means he would sink together with Peter And what will be the salvation story again? That a Savior was born and he sank with Peter. I'll be like, hey, but what kind of Savior is that? We should wait for another Savior, because our Savior cannot sink. Our Savior has stamina. But when he came from the place of prayer, you know, do you realize that even Jesus' miracles were very particular? He didn't just go about to say, everyone that is blind on this village get healed. No. It was very particular people. That means he had assignment for that day.
Even
yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. That means he had particular assignments for the different days. So it gives you stability. And tell me that you are the kind that does not want stability. You want stability that even when someone brings a very hard marital issue, you don't break down with them. You know, someone can be telling you their story, and you're like, are you sure this has happened? Oh my God. And then, because people go through stuff. You know, you told us how one-on-one is really getting on your nerves. You know, someone tells you something and then you'll be thinking, Oba, Oba, I'm also going to face it. Oba, what? So whenever people used to ask me, but how do you deal with these things? Definitely, number one, I'm the kind who would share. I would come and offload everything on my husband. Tell him that, you know what, if it was really bad, I would offload so that I can get some breathing space. And then, but again, I'll be totally detached from the issue. But if you called me 5 years after we have after a session, I would still remember where we stopped. So my memory for your issue is very exact and graphic, clear. But when it comes to my attachment to your issue, I put a boundary. Because I need to help other people. If I get mingled up with your issue, that means I will take that same pain and establish it with other people and tell them that, you know what, women, you really have to be careful, you know. You know, or men, you have to be careful, because I understood yesterday, I'm winding up, I want to get out of here. I understood yesterday while I was actually making a presentation in the men's forum, and I told them that broken men, okay, 90% of broken men are manufactured by women that broke their hearts.
Pardon?
Yeah, they had expectations that were never met. And all of a sudden, these people moved on, and where they went on their merry way, but this man promised himself never to ever give anyone else a chance. And they became broken because of course, others' issues, lack of parenting, and even society conditioning. But some men are broken because of the women that came first in their lives. And all of a sudden, they swore, I will never love like I loved innocently at first. Okay? And so before you know it, you have a broken man. Before you know it, you have a toxic man, but because of the conditions, okay? So sight, I pray that our sight gets clear. We get the stamina that we need to be able to pursue this, and then the stability to be able to hold other people's hands without compromising our place and without falling or sinking together with them. I want to see you after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years, after 30 years. I want to see you in big forums. I want to meet you in other countries, you know, where you have gone to minister, you have gone to speak, and we are bumping there, and we are doing an impromptu dinner, and we are thinking, you know what, look how far God has brought us. Look at the stamina that we have had. Look at the stability that you can speak, your children, you're flourishing, your marriage is flourishing, your bank account is flourishing, and all you can say, you know what, I am giving from the abundance of my heart, where we can lift up glasses and toast, where you can drive any car that you want, where you can speak from experience. Guys, that is very possible. But it is possible for only those that believe and have faith. Okay, so if we proclaim and say that, you know what, we are not nervous, indeed we are not nervous, we are winning. We might not look like we are winning. We might look like we are running slower than others, but believe me, at the last round, we are overtaking. Who is overtaking together with me? All right, I have prayed for you, and I pray that actually that God embeds it inside of you, that you will not be shaken, and that you will never doubt the calling on your life, the power on your life, the anointing on your life, and how much you can be able to help people in this world.